Hello, friends. My name is Adam, and I'm on a quest to be the most prolific reviewer of all time. Just checking to see if my microphone is on, and it is on. Today, I'm going to talk about the 1964 film called Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte, starring Bette Davis, Olivia de Havilland, James Cotton, I believe. Joseph Cotton, sorry, not James Cotton, Joseph Cotton and Agnes Moorehead, and it is directed by Robert Aldrich. So, this movie is probably mostly known as the answer to a trivia question is like which is the film. So there are two films that Bette Davis and Joan Crawford made together, and which was the film where Joan Crawford got fired, and it was this one. So, is it actually worth revisiting? That's a really complicated question to answer because I think that I love Bette Davis. I love her as an actress, but she does have flaws in her technique. And this movie kind of lays bare what her flaws are. If Bette Davis is not sort of restrained and pushed in the right direction, she's not going to go there willingly. And I think that it needed a special kind of director to get that out of her. And I think that Aldrich was not the director to do that with her. So her performance, like I think that Bette Davis is often considered to be a camp performer, but I think there are only a few moments where she actually is camp. And what is camp is hard to define, but my understanding of camp is where it's like over the top that it becomes so pathos becomes bathos basically. So pathos is like really really sad and bathos is so sad it becomes funny. So this this is the performance that does it for me where she's like completely over the top, she's unrestrained. And I think there are a few moments where the the power of Bette Davis as a performance comes through. There's a few things where there's a few close-ups. I mean, there's one close-up in as the opening credits are going, which is just ridiculous, where she's crying and she's emoting or whatever. But then there are moments towards the end where she's leaving and she's looking at one character who is only slightly sympathetic to her, and you can see the eye acting, for lack of a better word, and it's really, really subtle and it's good. So, this is a completely unhinged performance. And I think that Crawford would have been an excellent foil for her if they had been able to put their creative differences aside and if Davis had restrained the overacting a little bit. But not everybody agrees with my take. Like she won a Golden Globe for this, Bette Davis did, which is crazy. And that's not to say that her replacement, de Havilland, doesn't do a good job. She does a great job too, as a sort of person who was initially sympathetic, but you find out she is not a murderess, but a conniver at the end. Obsequious. I was thinking if that's the correct term for it, but she has a very obsequious personality. I'm using a lot of $10 words here that I might not be using correctly, so write in the comments if I am correct about that or incorrect about it. So, yeah, the de Havilland is good. She does a good performance, and Cotton is also good as a sort of smarmy character who is involved in the plot. But the overacting of Davis is just too much. Like you're trying to the plot of the movie is that there is this woman, Charlotte, and she has been involved in sort of a murder scandal when she was younger in 1927, and her dad has died and left her this huge estate. So she has lived in this estate since probably 37 until about 1964 when the movie happens. And the state of Louisiana is going to build a bridge and destroy her property. So she believes that this is all the work of the wife of the man who got murdered, who she was having an affair with. And people always thought that she did it. And it was kind of like this sort of true crime mystery. And it had a lot of sort of prurient interest from people. Prurient, another $10 word there, from different people over the years. And so there is like that aspect as well. But yeah, so what happens is she enlists the aid of her cousin, Miriam, played by de Haviland, to come and sort of fight for her rights with the government. But Miriam has her own plans. Her plans is to like steal the money because even though the house is being demolished, Charlotte still has a lot of money because her father was like a very wealthy, influential guy in Louisiana. In her plot, she plots with her. So she's the cousin of Charlotte. There's another cousin named Drew, and they're kind of they were involved romantically, but they scheme to make Charlotte believe she's more and more crazy, and then have her committed, and then take the money from her. So yeah, that's the plan anyway, and that's the plot of the movie. But it doesn't actually work. And the reason it doesn't work is mainly Betty Davis is overacting in it, but also the directing, Aldrich's directing of the movie. And Aldrich, like, he seems to be a really good director. And when this movie came out, people really liked it, and it was a success. It was one of his biggest films, but and I can see why people respected him as a director, because in the beginning, the shots, the whole movie is shot kind of as if Orson Welles shot it. And that's another, to go off on a tangent, it's crazy how people really believe that when I was younger that Citizen Kane is the greatest movie of all time. And now people have forgotten that movie entirely, I think, in the last 20 years or something. But yeah, Citizen Kane was really unique because the director was making choices about the shots. And you can see there are a lot of there are shots that are filmed because they will look good, they'll look interesting, they follow the language of film, which is great. And the beginning, and the problem from the storytelling and from the filmmaking perspective of the film is that the first 20 minutes are like great. They're really well done. And but the last two-thirds of the movie doesn't work. So you have all of this like atmosphere setting up, like the fact that Charlotte was having an affair with this guy, and you have a confrontation between Charlotte's father and this guy, and he doesn't have an arm for whatever reason, and it's not really commented upon. And then the I guess his name is John. John gets murdered, and he gets murdered in such an over the top way that it was a bit ridiculous. Like a hand comes off, a head comes off, and this is all in like the first 20 minutes. So you have like hand come off, head come off, and it's so over the top. You're like, wow, that's a beginning to a movie. It's really great. What's going to happen next? And the transition, so there are these, so it's like 1964, and it's a good transition. It's 1964, and there are some kids who are, have heard urban legends about Charlotte, and one kid kind of goes in and tries to steal something and get something that Charlotte has touched as sort of a dare. And that's when we're introduced to Betty Davis as Charlotte, and the film goes downhill from there. And in fact, there's like a callback to, because they're trying to make Charlotte go crazy. Miriam and the Drew character are trying to make Charlotte go crazy. So there's a callback to the fact that John's head was bouncing down like there. So they have like a makeup artist make a fake head or whatever, and they bounce it so that Charlotte sees it and she thinks she's going crazy. But like the fake head that they have looks exactly like the fake head in the beginning. And obviously you can tell that it's a fake head in the beginning, but like in the movie it's supposed to be a real head. So you're like, okay, you just blew the whole movie from a storytelling perspective. So yeah, I'd say it's an interesting movie, but it's only interesting now in the fact that Joan Crawford got fired, and that this was probably the last movie that Betty Davis did where I'm not sure. I don't know. But I would say that like, this is the last respected movie that Betty Davis did. So it probably puts a bookmark on her revivals that happened from the early 50s to the late early 60s. So that 10-year period of her career is kind of finished here, I would say. But I'm going to find out because I will watch more Betty Davis movies, of course. All right, what did you think about this movie? I see that some people in the comments are really big Betty Davis fans, which is great. But have you seen this movie, Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte? And what did you think? Do you think it's too over the top? Do you think that this is camp? I think it is, unfortunately. I mean, camp can be enjoyable, but this movie, not exactly enjoyable. All right, if you want to subscribe to my channel, that would be great. I'm trying to get to 300 subscribers by the end of January. And yeah, so 300 subscribers by the end of January. So if you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel. Please put a comment, and I will try and reply as soon as I can to your comments. And if you're listening on Spotify, please give me a follow. Thank you. Bye-bye.